morning and welcome. We're just going to wait a few minutes in case we have some late logins. We have a lot of registrations, but we're just going to wait for them to come in before we start the topic. Myself, I'm Raju Bulchand from Masterbrain, and we have Meghna Khan with us today.
Good morning.
And yes, when she first told me about the topic, I first thought the topic was about careers in data, which is the big thing now. But it's more about using data to choose a career. Because I believe that we find a lot of people, even later on at ages, deciding to change careers. And maybe because they made their choices more on subjective reasons, recommendations, pressure from people around them, then actually on the real reasons that they should have chosen, which is how everything affected them. So your topic, it's good because I think people will make choices based on other facts. They can still decide to change their career. Everything can happen in time, but the choices should always be based on real facts, and not what my neighbor said, what this said, and everything. So yeah, so I think it's, as parents, I'm also a parent. My son is starting college next week. And it's always the question, did he choose the right thing? Because we want to give them the freedom of making their choices, but is he doing it because his friend is doing it? Is he doing it because it's so? Or has he actually investigated that career and giving? So I did sit with him, I remember one day, and we went through a question and answers session. And he gave me all the answers, basically on what you're going to do today, Meghna. It was facts.
Right.
This is the career, the future in this, the job market, the starting salaries after college, facts and numbers. And then at the end, I remember I told him, okay, that's very good. But one question, do you enjoy this subject? Because you need to enjoy it also while you're studying. Because when you have to sit for an exam and you're up at 6 a.m. studying, if you don't enjoy it, your eyes could close. So he said, no, Dad, I enjoy this topic. So I felt that if he enjoyed the topic and he had done all the factual background, factual data, analyze it, and then obviously also get opinions from others, is, find out a little more about the course, and what are the teachers like, what is the curriculum like. Of course you need opinions, but it's not just about opinions, it's about making due diligence, like we do for anything, right? You go to open a bank and you have your KYC form, so you need due diligence.
Right.
So it is now 11:07. Once again, for the ones who just come in, my name is Raju Bulchand from Masterbrain. My name and contacts are on the screen. And today we have Meghna Khan, who's going to speak. I mean, she's a consultant helping people with education choices. But today, the specific topic is using data to make your choices. Everybody uses data. I mean, I remember back in school, the most popular data choosing people were the insurance companies, right? To make every premium, they collect millions of data to make a calculation. So data is what gives you the right results, and we obviously combine it with other things. So we have people in the room, Meghna, 11:08. I think in the interest that it's a Saturday morning, we don't want to delay anybody who's here with us, and they might have other things. So let me introduce you once again. Meghna Khan from MK Consultings, is it Career Consultants, and specializing in helping people making the right choices for their education careers. She will help people. At the end, we all need to make our choices. And today, she's going to talk about a topic which is how to help yourself even more making the career choices, and that's using data. So I don't want to talk anymore because I'm not the speaker today. It's Meghna. So I'll pass over to you, Meghna.
Thank you, Raju. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everyone. Today, I'm here to discuss about making data-driven career choices. When we talk about this, it is giving you a deep understanding about your interest, about your passions, and your career interest areas based on the factual data analysis, not on the observations, not on the interpretations, or just having a feeling that I like it probably, and this is my go-to thing. We need to validate our likings, because we get do affected or get inspired by other people around. It can be your father, it can be your one cousin who scores well all the time, it can be your neighbor, it can be your school friend. So it's okay to feel and analyze yourself that yes, you have a understanding about yourself and you think you are good in that. But it is always good to validate your choices, because once you validate, a lot of work which is there in the future is reduced. So you start the process much earlier, you have a deep understanding about yourself, because knowing yourself is very important. And knowing yourself is not only introspection about yourself, or as I said, other people's observation about yourself. It needs to be validated with data. So I'll just share my screen with you, and we'll take this topic in detail. So as I said, today's topic is about making data-driven career choices. Also, I would like to request all of you, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat box and we can take it up. Otherwise, we will be having a dedicated time for question answers session as well. So today's agenda is the topics which we are going to discuss today is why have a career? How is it out there? Making an informed career choice. And then we will discuss about the summary about it. So when we think about a career, we always think about job, which field has highest paying jobs, what area you can go there and join. IT is having more hiring. So when we think about career, we only, most of the time, I would not say only, but most of the time think about picking up a job. But there are many more options available which you can explore. So why do we actually look for a career? One simple answer is we all have to make our living. So we need money. We need to work towards it. But then it's for your mental satisfaction. It also gives an acknowledgement to your study. It gives you a self-respect when you have earned a degree and you go out and pick up a job or do something on your own. It gives you a sense of self-respect that yes, it makes a point to be proven that yes, I have done something substantial in my life. Then it also gives you opportunities to explore your potential areas, to see which domains, because when you join an organization, it's not you are hired for a certain role or you are taken up for a certain position, but then and it gives you more information about yourself, that what all different things you can do, which you might not even thought of that even I can do that. And then of course, when you are picking up a career, when you started with a career, you grow with it, you learn many new things, and learning is a curve which goes throughout the life. Earlier we all had a thing that MBBS or medical students need to study all throughout their life, but now it is applicable to all the fields. If you are not updated, if you are not being at par with the trends which are going on, then it becomes difficult for you to survive. Next is, what are the different kind of career options which are available? The most common one is employee, because it gives you a sense of satisfaction that you have a secure job. It gives you more stability. You have a running income which is coming into your hand every month. Then it also gives you a kind of a boundary where you can fix your plans, your schedule, and you can move around in that time. That you start at this time and you finish at that time. You are having a boundary around it. So picking up a job is the most common thing which we take up. Then there are another options available as well, like a business owner, self-employment. These days, there is an increase in people who are freelancing, who are trying to open up small ventures and trying to make through that. Then there is another way of making a career or earning money is being an investor. Of course, this is not right from the beginning. This is a pattern which follows. You might start up with a job. Later, you realize that you have a potential, you have enough experience and knowledge, and you want to venture out in something of your own, or you want to just work as a consultant or as a freelancer. So it can be a gradual phase as well, or it can be something which you can always, if you're sure about what you really want to do, you can take a call right from the beginning. We all have, especially our times, we all have learned about ourselves through hit and trial of the career choices we made. So when we used to come out of our college, whatever was the first option or first job offered, most of us have picked up that without thinking that, you really want to do that, or your heart and soul is into that. In fact, many times people are not even aware what they need to do in that profile. It is just because they got it as a first opportunity, and there is a pressure around, there is a peer pressure, there is a family pressure. So you just, sometimes it's a good click, it works out for you, sometimes it doesn't happen that way. So it's very important to understand that whatever decisions you are taking right now is going to affect your future decisions as well. Next, if we see which are some of the highest paying jobs. In 2018, it was data scientist, tax manager, engineers, graphic designers, lawyer. If you think about Dubai, construction was also on, a boom most of the time in Dubai. Then civil is a big thing. Aviation was a big thing. But post-COVID, the scenario and the trend has completely changed. Everything came on a halt at that point of time. And medical professionals, there is a huge rise in the intake of medical professionals. Lawyers found a good time for this. Then ID managers, because everything went online at this point of time, though schools and work offices, everybody has to work on that model, and it in fact, they didn't take much of the time to adapt to it. So it is all because there was people working behind and made the whole process very easy. So these were the few job profiles which were highly paid after the 2020 COVID trend which came up. Then if we see which sectors have hired the most during this time period, if we compare 2018 and 2020. So retail, hospitality, food and beverages, marketing, construction, this has been always there. But post this scenario, it happened into digital marketing. There was a lot of scope for medicine, as I already told you. Then there was life coaching. There was a massive awareness on mental health, and people were not able to adapt to the new normal. I think it has taken almost 2 years for all of us to come in terms of what is happening around and have a normal life around it. So that's why we say we all have adapted to the new normal. The definition of normal has changed a lot. Then there's more of content writers. People are, the reading skills have improved during this period. People are reading a lot. They want to know alternative ways. They want to cope up with all this. So the changes happen in the career choices also with the surroundings and the environment as well. So we need to keep these things in track. Then if you can see which are the fastest growing occupations between now and 2019, it's data scientist and artificial intelligence is on a boom. People are hiring a lot of data analysts, data science people too, because the importance of data-driven choices have not only increased in organizations, but in all the sectors. because data-driven choices are given more preference. I'm not talking in only the terms of the education, which I'm here right now, in other fields also, because factual information give you more precise information in deciding what to do next, rather than having a general overview and discussion on that. Then health industry, as we discussed, it happened. Physical therapists have been in on a boom. Mental coaching has have been on a boom. Information and security analyst has been there. Statistics data, people who work on statistic data have also increased. So these are, different sectors which have seen a trend of fastest growing, and there will be more opportunities in this area from now to the next 10 years, if we see. Then the most important question, which we all have to ask ourselves, being it is applicable for a parent as well, it is applicable for a child as well. So for a parent, on the prospect that if you have already made your choices, you have to just do and self-discovery and understand whether you're happy in your space, whether you are aligned to what you really want to do. Are you getting anxiety issues, or are you not happy and content with what you are doing? Similarly, if you make a career, it is very important to understand the process of career counseling or career consulting, in which generally what we do is that when a child is in 11th or 12th grade, we start thinking about their university admission. And at that point of time, we try to reach a career counselor. But that is a time where more than half of your choices are already done. You have taken a call, and now you're only looking for a university admission, and which is actually not a big deal, because when you know everything, okay, you go through different people, but if you want, you can fix up your universities on your own as well. The whole process starts much earlier. It needs to be done when your child is at a stage where they have to select their subject choices, where they are coming to you and asking you different questions about different professions or choices, or they are just asking you, is there any scope? I like playing basketball. Is there any scope in that? Can I make a career out of it? So those are the times where you have to really work on them, spend the time with them, rather than reaching them towards the end and then having very limited options available. So this is the model which I would like to discuss. And I think I'm also a part of this model, which is called as the survival model, where we all, we just find out that, okay, this is, as I told you earlier, that we picked up the job which was first came our way and was offered to us, because it gives us a sense of security, what amount of salary I'm going to get for it. And okay, if I'm getting a good salary, I don't even think about that whether I am really interested in doing that kind of work. And then we make a choice, okay, this profile looks okay to me, I think I can work on this. This is the salary package I'm getting, and it's fine. It is giving me a comfortable 9 to 5 job, or it's giving me a sense of security, and it's giving me a assurance that my next few years are stable. We try to pick up that option. This is basically because of the environment we had around us. We have seen our parents struggling, and we always want to contribute towards them and be independent as soon as possible. In our times, the career choices we have made, like I am a computer engineer, and I picked up engineering because my father is an engineer, my elder sister is an engineer. So I never thought of exploring any other options. I just always thought that I have to be an engineer. And when I reached out to my father as well, he gave me choices. You can be an engineer, you can be a doctor, or you can go for public administration services. So, these were there was no process involved with our teachers of the schools. Were only purpose was to complete the syllabus. There was no guidance on that part. Thankfully, when I went to my college, I had my professors who saw my skills, who guided me that you should, take up MBA next, and you have a, connection, you can take up counseling. So gradually it went in place for me. But I came to know about my passion, my skills with the hit and trial method. I have invested certain years into it, and then I am finally doing, what I really love to do. So, but today's generation, we have to understand it is also very important for the parents also to work on their mindset. Generally, I would not say everyone, because I have seen that parents have also evolved a lot, but most of the time, as the natural instinct, we try to replicate the childhood we had, the learnings we had on our children. But we need to understand that the kind of setup or the layout or the background or upbringing we had, they are already on 2 3 steps above that. They will never understand the kind of core values we have. Their core values will be different. So we should not try to hold them back, bring our to level, and then impose all the learnings we had. We should always try to give them the benefit that yes, their environment, their upbringing is completely different, and for them surviving is not the minimum requirement. We all would have taken our decisions for the to family to look after, to responsibility, financial responsibilities, but our children are having a little edge over that. They can explore more choices. They have the liberty to understand what they like, and if they pick up a profession which they like, then they will be in their happy space throughout their career options, and they will be their learning curve will be very high, their potential will be very high. Now I would like to discuss the greatness model, which is actually we should all focus on, and which is the self discovery process, and which is the main concern for the data driven approach. Because what is your passion? It means many things to find out what is your passion. It can be a discussion with your teacher, it can be a discussion with your parents around, it can be a discussion with your siblings, it can be a discussion with your parents, with your friends. But we need to take a data driven approach towards that, so that you can validate that whatever your parents are suggesting or your surroundings are telling you, that is good for you. So when your passion and your skills align, we come out to an ideal career choice for you. And it's most of the times there are, because the job market has also evolved over the years, there is actually a job opportunity in every part. But still, if you struggle at some point of time that you think your passion is this and you're not finding an appropriate job market for it, you know what will take you to be happy and get going. At that point of time, you can use your passion as your hobby. But in today's scenario, if we see, we can always find ways to align your skills, your passion, your interest areas with the career choices available. Next, I would like to let you know, you can think right now, or you can note these questions and do as an activity later. How to find out your passion and interest. So these are some questions which you can do this activity. What do I love to do? What subjects do I love in school? Why do I like these subjects? What can I never imagine doing? You try to answer those questions, and in those questions, you will get a little information about, and it will give you a moment of thinking that whether these things are aligned or not. Then comes my skills and strengths. So this can always be discussed with your close friend, with your teacher, people who are around you most of the time and who observe you. It can be your friend, it can be your teacher, it can be your parents as well, if you are on that level of discussion with them. So you should ask, what have I always been good at? What do I do easily and naturally? What are the things which nobody has to tell you that go get up and do this thing? What are the things which motivates you yourself to go and execute yourself? then what do you always come to me for? What kind of struggles do you face? What kind of questions do you always have? What kind of inquiries do you, what are the sectors where do you inquire about the most? What are, that can also help you in finding out your interest areas. Then there is a very interesting, which we can probably do an activity right now. And if anybody wants to participate in that, that if there was a product, what would I be and why? If you can relate yourself with any product, then what would it be? It can be anything you're wearing, anything, accessory, any book, anything which you can relate with. And why would you want to relate yourself with that? That is one of the activities you can do. I would suggest everyone to do that. It will give you a deep insight about yourself. Then to find out my values, you have to ask yourself, what does success mean for you? The parameters can change from person to person. For someone, it can be, money. For someone, it can be service for a cause or a dedication. For someone, it can be having their own venture. Success and happiness, the meaning varies from person to person. So you should think about, what does success mean for you? And what are my non-negotiables in life? There are certain things in life. When we talk about non-negotiables, it means that there are certain things which you will always look in your career or in your work area that will keep you going, and there those things you will not compromise on. Like if you are working into a field where you are into an IT job and you are spending enormous hours, 12 to 13 hours every day, and there is some void kind of feeling that, do I really wanted to do this? Is this something I wanted to give back to the society? I'm not doing anything substantial, or I'm not returning. What is the purpose of my life? These are the things coming because there are certain core values in you which are not being satisfied. So it's not all, either you can find a profession which aligns with your core values, or in case you are into a job profile which you need for your stability and sense of security, but you can always satisfy these core values with another options as well. So like if you want to give it back to the society, no matter how much hectic schedule you have, whatever day you get off, you get associated with an NGO, you start working with your residential area children, pick up few people whom you really want to help. What is your strength area? You can teach them. These things will keep your happiness quotient high. And when you will be happy, people around you will be happy, and you will give more productiveness to your job. So you have to understand what makes you going, and what are the things you would not like to compromise. What kind of places I want to work in, you should give a thought on that part as well. Then comes grit. Now, this is something which is directly related to your tenacity, which means that how much determination you have for the things you want to really do. How much percentage of efforts would you put into that? And, if you have picked up a task, how much dedication or what timeline do you set to complete that, and will not sit happily and idle till those things are completed. So your grit is basically your determination, your willpower, that if you pick up anything, you would when we talk about person's personality or what kind of a learning style, a person can be an introvert, can be an extrovert, can be judgmental, can be thinking. But these are the things which are somehow you are born with, even your learning style. These things can be worked on, but under certain threshold or pressure, these traits of your personality and learning style will pop up. But grit is something which you will evolve with your experience and age. So a 15-year-old taking up a grit test will have a score probably lesser, but once he turns 25, 35, 45, you take a grit analysis at that point of time, and you will surprise yourself that with age, with experience, by working on yourself, the value changes. So this is something which is in your hand. You can work on that. So basically, the step to success is, firstly, it is very important to have an intent that you really need a assistance in a career goal planning, and it should be a mutual decision by the entire family. If the child is coming to the parent, then parent need to be convinced and go ahead with that. If the parents want the career counseling for the child, they need to sit and tell the child why do you want them to have that and how they can benefit it to them. Then second important thing, which is very important, is engaging into self discovery through psychometric evaluations. Psychometric evaluations gives you the actual data on which you should plan your decisions. That information is very important. Then goal planning is there. Once we have a complete analysis about your personality, your learning styles, your work ethics, your career choices, we can set up short-term and long-term goals for you. And it is always better to reach out for a career expert in that area. I understand, you also have, parents always think that we have so much years of experience and we can guide our child. But sometimes it is important for someone else to talk to your child for an unbiased approach, because someone who doesn't know you, doesn't know your child, you meet together, the child also have a confidence that, okay, they are not talking just on behalf of my parents. The child should have a trust in someone, that there is someone who can listen to me and can also analyze whether whatever they are thinking is aligning with them. So it is always good to reach out for a help and a career counselor for that. Then we can have a execution plan for them. We can have different steps, what they need to do, what kind of guidance they required. And we can also, once if you go for your child's career counseling, suppose the child is in grade 8, you have enough 4 years in your hand for your child to experiment and try his liking for different professions. If you reach in 11 or 12 grade where you've already made your choices, at that point of time, the hit and trial scope is very less. We have to figure out whatever you have selected, in that what is the best option. So it's better to start early, just in case you have not started early and you are already in your intermediate level. At that point of time, we can help you in taking a call, which is the best option available for you in the choices you have made. We at MKCS, which is MK Counseling Services, the purpose of the program is we call as Goal Finder, in which we do a psychometric test in which reports are generated. After that, we do a one-on-one session as well. And also there are a lot of questionnaires which gives us more information. So it's a data-driven approach plus a conversation plus inputs from all the people who are in the vicinity, and then a combined and detailed approach towards making the career choices. So I've already explained to you about myself, and I would love to take questions from you guys.
Thank you, Meghna.
You're welcome.
A wonderful presentation on such an important topic. Making the right choice, making the right choices is an important thing. Well, many times I say there's no right or wrong, but definitely data will help you. We already have one question on the chat, okay, and I'm going to pass it on to you. Is there any ideal grade, class, age when we should start the process? I'm going to take a little, before I pass it on to you, I did not know Meghna at that time, but I have a son who's 18 today, and we rolled him into career counseling when he was 14 or 13. He was the youngest that career counselor had ever taken. And that career counselor said, why not? The earlier they start preparing, the better. But I'll pass that question over to you, Meghna, who's the expert. Mine was just a parent comment. So what is the ideal grade, class / age when parents or the child should start the process? What do you feel, Meghna?
Well, Raju, I would say that you have taken the right decision in disguise. You started just at the right time for your child. And the ideal grade, I would say, is grade 8 and above, because in psychometric analysis as well, we need the child to understand the question and have the ability to answer them on their own. So because we need answers from the child so that the report has more accuracy rate. So you can always help out the children in understanding the question if they are not able to get it, but the answer should always come for the child. And that kind of understanding, I mean, these day kids, I would say they are grade 7 and above, they have that kind of a sorted mind, but ideal would be grade 8 and above.
So you're saying grade 8, grade 7. I know we have parents from different curriculums. So which is
Yes.
the age? The age?
It should be 13 and above.
13 and above. Right. So when
Yes.
second, yeah, okay, that's wonderful. Now, I request anybody who has questions, feel free to put them in the chat or just raise your virtual hand, go down to reactions, raise hand, and then I can pass on the mic to you or put it on the chat. I know I've got many questions, but I don't want to monopolize this because this session is for all of you. I don't know if we have parents or students listening, but if you are some students, feel free not to be shy. Questions, no question is stupid. Answers are important. So we got again another question. Sometimes the tests are not given in the best frame of mind. How do we mitigate that? Is there a series of tests that we can do?
See, I can understand what you're coming from, and it's okay because see, the psychometric testing is not something which is, aptitude based, or it is going into technical question series. It is something which is going to ask you similar kind of a question thrown up on you in different ways, so that we can get a detailed information about you. I would suggest that when you are done with the daily course and you are in a stable position, that would be the best time to take up the test. But I would also say that if you think that you have started taking up a test and you are thinking that you are not in a right frame of mind, those questions will probably change your mood at that point of time. Or there are always options to take a break and then start the test from another point of time. It's not a timer based or duration based test. There are like the kind of test which you will find on my website. It has 5 different sections, and it doesn't force you to complete all the 5 sections at that point of time. Generally students do that because they have the habit of doing it continuously. So it's up to you, and it is very important that you take up all the questions. But I would say you should not bother that your how your day went, how your mood is going to affect that much the answers, because those answers are very generic questions.
Okay, thank you, Meghna. Uh, what is the methodology you use for grit measurement?
So, Raghav, there is for grit, when you will take up the test, we have an inbuilt algorithm for it, which works on how to calculate the grit, which gives you the highest value is 5. And for adult, generally it ranges from 2.5 to 3.5. For youngsters, it reaches maximum up to 2. So there is a complete dedicated process for it, and we have incorporated in our test on that.
Okay. We have one question, which is, I don't want to go into detail because it could lead to a debate. It says, I have not seen much value from the school career counselors personally. What is your outlook on the school counseling programs? Personally, before you start, Meghna, I'd like to say, different schools have different people employed. The schools deals with thousands of children at the same time, and they do the best they can. But again, that's why we have career counselors for a second opinion, for a more personalized opinion. And some schools are doing an amazing job. Some maybe don't have the resources. So let's not really downplay the schools because I know it's tough on them. I'm a governor in a school. I know what goes on, but definitely if you go to a professional, it's like when you go to a doctor, you go for a second opinion sometimes and all that, and to a specialist, it's a specific specialist. So I'll leave the floor to you. Not as what is your opinion on counseling, school counseling programs, but what are the alternatives more than that?
See, I agree with Raju on that. And I, as a parent, also I understand your concern. When you pay such high fees in the school, you expect them to, take up more of the things, and you don't want to reach outside the school boundaries. But if you see the ratio, the career counselor and the ratio of the child is very high. Every secondary, generally the career counselors are in the secondary sections, and they have whole of the secondary students to cater. Maximum they can give a dedicated time to your child is 15 to 20 minutes of that period, which is not sufficient enough to have a detailed analysis of your child. And it is very important to understand that, you should have right set of questions asked to get a right set of answers, and whether they are using any data driven approach or not. So I would say that I know many schools which have a dedicated career counseling department, and they work on it. They have a person assigned to it. Whereas I know schools which have given career counseling as an additional responsibility to an existing teacher, be it a English teacher or a music teacher. So it, again, as Raju said, it depends upon the schools. And in fact, even the rankings, I think of the schools are also affected with that. But it is when you reach to a professional career counselor outside, that time is completely for your child. It is a one-on-one attention to you. It is just like a private class and a group class. So when you have in a group, the attention is diverted, and you also know that a person cannot give more than 15 to 20 minutes dedicated time to your child. So it's about you. If you think that you want more detailed analysis about your child, then it would be better to reach out to a career counselor outside.
Okay, we have some more questions coming in, but I wanted to ask you one question because I think we have parents in the room, and maybe you will not answer this. It's who makes a career choice, the student or the parent?
Well, this is the whole thing about Raju. It's like a chicken and egg theory because as our traditional system is that consciously or unconsciously, we start building up on our child's mind. The questions we ask our little children are, what do you want to grow up and be? It's kind of an indirect manipulation which happens. So, but I have also met so many students here. I have counseled so many students here. These days students are able to discriminate between their expectation and their parents expectation as well. And parents also, I must appreciate, they have evolved, and they are open to their children's choices, and they are ready to explore along with them. They are not putting up that, no, I have decided for you and you have to go for it. So it is working both ways. It is it works as a mutual decision at the end of the day.
Okay, we got one more. I'm just reading along, it's a long one. How
Yeah.
do we as parents identify areas of strengths and improvements in our child? This is part one. What may seem as obvious to us may be just a small part of the puzzle and may be misleading. This is more relevant for introvert kids. Now, before you go into Meghna, I
Yeah.
like to tell parents, many times you think your kids are introvert. It's happened to me in my center. I get parents, oh no, my child, and I tell them, can you do me a favor? Can you leave? And I'll show you a recording afterwards. And that same child acts differently in front of the parent than when the parent is not there. So many times a parent says he's introvert because communicating between a child and a parent is different than sometimes when he goes to somebody who doesn't have subjective opinions.
Yeah. Should I take up this, Raju?
Yes, please. The question's to you. You can see it in the chat box.
So I would like to say that introvert is also a very big term. It doesn't always mean that the person is quiet and shy and they will not talk about it. It's not like that. Many people who have a very outgoing personality, who talk a lot, who will gel around with people, but still there would be a nutshell in which they are there. They will never speak their real story or inside story or their feelings with everybody around them. They have different circles. So introvert doesn't always mean an introvert can have an extrovert personality but can still be a introvert. So don't interpret on that part. And as Raju said, that students' behavior, the way they behave in front of their parent and the way they behave outside, there is a lot of difference into that part. So identifying, coming back to the question, how do we as parents identify areas of strength and improvements in our child? I think the first and the most important thing is spend time with them, give them a lot of things to try. Because when you give them a lot of options to try, then only you can identify their areas of improvement. Like I can figure out in students, if you give them a Lego game, do they finish and get up, or do they leave in between, or do they just do a little part and then go come back and do again? Or a person starts a painting, leaves in between, goes up, or a person is sitting, started the painting, will get up after 2 hours and do it. So when you give them a lot of opportunities and spend some time with them, you will be able to observe their areas. Like, and I can imagine with my daughter, if I give her Lego, she will do it in different breaks, so I can understand that I have to work on her focus part. Okay, so these kind of observations, and the most important thing is that don't expect your child to be exceptional in everything they do. Give them the choices, then you have to narrow down the choices. So that will give you a detailed understanding that what your child is good at and what are the areas you have to look out. So it's not a question. You cannot get more factual information by just discussion or talking to the children. You have to give them options, you have to observe them, and then you have to narrow down the choices.
Okay, thank you very much, Meghna. I had in one of your slides, I saw an interesting question. It was
Yeah.
like when you, I think it was identifying, and it says, "What can I never imagine doing?" Uh,
Yes.
so, what do you mean by that? People should maybe choose a career in something they never imagined.
uh, in fact, I mean, many times we end up in doing things which we underestimated ourselves. We never thought that we'll be good in that, or we'll be able to pull through that, you know. Or like I say, I have a student who in an entire schooling period never participated in any debate kind of a competition, and then suddenly in her graduation days she went for an inter college and she won it. So there are certain unexplored options there which you think that you are not capable of, but you never know, it can be a jackpot for you. So think about the things which you think that you can never do it, and then actually try a hand on it and see whether you are able to pull through it or not.
Thank you, Meghna. Well, one more question coming in. It's on the chat bar. You can read it. What are your suggestions to keep peer pressure at bay for kids and parents? Peer pressure. Yes, interesting one.
Yes, I understand. I'm also a parent. I understand. And my suggestion would be that it is very important to make your child understand that you accept them the way they are, and it is, you want the best for them. You are not comparing your children with anyone. Even I, as a parent, also don't get affected with the growth of another friend's children. Every child is unique, and every child has different potential. You have to just acknowledge your child's potential and what they are good at. You should not be in a competitive, you should not go for a piano class because my friend's son plays piano so well. He might be good at it, but your child may not be into music. He wants to go and sing, or he wants to play basketball. So the whole, and the peer, I understand when you socialize with people, when you have friend circle, with children who are doing exceptionally well, then you feel that kind of a thing. But it's okay, be happy for the kids who are doing well. But it's very okay to have a normal child who's not doing that great. And we know many success stories where people are successful who are not a very bright student during their school life. So it's I would say it's kind of I generally tell in my life coaching session is that be happy and content with what you have, and try to find good things in that. So it's very important for you not to be affected with the surroundings and friend circles and children around. And once you are not affected, you will definitely, because children, they don't get into that comparing zone that early. It is us who talk about others and put these things in their mind. So we have to figure out what our children are good at, and then we should explore those options, and we should be happy for other people who are doing good.
I love that last statement. You should be happy for everybody doing well. We shouldn't compare children with other children. We should compare children with themselves. They should maximize their own potential, not somebody else's potential. So yes, peer pressure, it's how you allow it to come into you, I believe. But you should try to look at your child's potential and not the neighbor's potential.
Yeah.
Any more questions? In the interest of time, we're coming 5 minutes to the hour, and we don't want to take up more time. So if you have any more questions, do rush them in. But if you do have more questions, of course, you can contact Meghna directly. Her contacts are still on the screen. So her phone number, WhatsApp, contact email. And if not, you can go via me, but her direct contacts are right here on the screen. So you can contact her for any sort of advice or questions if we do finish the session and you still have questions, or if you want to have personal questions with her, which you don't want to bring up, which we understand. It's a delicate topic. So, I mean, the whole thing when you said about peer pressure, this question, I think everything that you're speaking about, Meghna, is about making a choice based on data, not on peer pressure, not on other things, on the real data about your child. Okay, now we have one more question. You have mentioned work ethics in your discussion somewhere. What is the importance of work ethics in career choice?
Great. See, that's what I wanted to tell you, that work ethics are basically the values which you will look for. It can vary from many things. Like if you are a person who is highly productive, when a task is completely given to you. So there are many, when you work in a company or in an IT company or any kind of a company, if you have a micromanager as your boss, then it becomes really difficult for some people to perform better, because there are certain things which you would not like to be told that, okay, now you have to do this. There, you might be a kind of a person who would like to be given a responsibility, and then the whole process should be left on you, and you finally, the concerned company or the manager should be concerned with the outcome of that. So if that kind of a personality you have, which we called as interpersonal, then interpersonal, intrapersonal, where you are comfortable with the working with the team, when you are comfortable only when the whole authority is with yourself, or like I mentioned, when people look for employments or job opportunities where they can give back to the society. It is not always getting associated with a charitable organization or an NGO. A lawyer is actually, being a lawyer, it's a high paid job, but you can always decide that, okay, I will be doing a free service for people who are not able to afford, or for women who are fighting for their rights. So if you have that kind of a work ethic for you in your profession also, you can find that satisfaction. So when you are earning also from it, but you find a person who's not able to afford you, you can do that. Same goes with the doctors as well. Most of the doctors profiles which I've worked, they all had this parameter of giving back to the society. That's why, after having chaotic schedules, the kind of work life they have, they are still happy to get up every morning and go there, and they're ready. And I think, being a medical professional, you listen to the patients cry every morning and evening, and still they are, full of energy to go back, because it is the driving force for them. So work ethics are very important. These are the value system. If you find these ethics in your job profile, you will be at your happy space there.
Thank you, Meghna. We're just a few minutes to the hour. If no more questions, I'd like to say once again, we know for parents, we get really frustrated. Is our child choosing the right career? It's not. That's why we have professionals. I know we all Google up symptoms for medical issues, but ultimately we need to go to a doctor, right? Because they're the professionals. You can't diagnose a sickness on Google. And yes, parents do the best they can, children do the best they can, schools do, but sometimes you need help from outside, and it's important. I know people who I've heard people who at the age of retirement, they said, I think I made a wrong career choice.
Yeah.
Let's make sure it's not that late for our kids and they can make a right career choice early on in their life, and not when they're 65 or 70 realize that maybe it was the wrong choice. And that's what, again, these, I think what Meghna and MK Counseling Services is offering is one more tool to try and help you make the best choice possible.
Thank you, Raju. Thank you for giving me this opportunity today. It was a lovely discussion. I loved all the questions. It gives me a sense of happiness that the parents are conscious and we all are on the right track.
Thank you very much, Meghna, and right on the hour. So if anybody has one more question, go ahead. Otherwise, do pull them into Meghna by her email, by her WhatsApp, or through me, any questions. And again, we'll let you know when we have more sessions. And if you want to contact Meghna, as I said, it's here. And then for the rest of you, have a great Saturday and have a great day ahead. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
everyone.